Hi, Sandy here, and today we are making a watercolor painting using rubber bands and salt. And paint, of course. And it is going to look gorgeous too. You don't believe me? Stick around and take a look for yourself. There are just so many household items you can use to paint with, to create a certain shape or just to have a little fun. I have used cups and toilet paper rolls and tape rolls and lids and pretty much anything I can get my hands on. For me, there's just something so freeing about leaving it up to chance on how your painting turns out, and that is exactly what we're doing here today. Because as a beginner color artist, it is very easy to think that your paint is only worth as much as how cool it looks, or how perfect it looks, or how realistic it looks. But if you talk to any watercolor artist, someone who's done it professionally for decades, they will tell you that there are days where you just have to go with it. You just have to sit with the paint, with the paper, and see where it takes you. I'm using my Winsor & Newton practice paper. I love this paper. It's not 100% cotton, but it is pretty good for practicing. I've got my Mungyu 48 watercolor set. And these are really, really vibrant, really, really cool. I love working with them. They're really fun. So now let's just throw some bands around, shall we? And we want to throw them all over our page. Okay, this is the first draft. Now, you can correct a couple of them, but just don't try to control the outcome, okay? Don't control the process. This is about letting go and having fun and relaxing our mind and, just going with it. I'm mainly going to work on the ones that are either too clumped together or that have like knots that stop them from falling the way they usually would. Okay, and this is me trying to control the process. Okay, I've stopped. This is what we have, guys. And now I take a waterproof pen. This is mine. And now we draw the lines these bands have created on our page. So let's get started. Try not to move the bands around as you paint, but sometimes, when they're up, like this one, you may want to press it down gently so you can actually trace them. Let's go. And now we need to make a couple of decisions. First, do we want to doodle it right now as is, some of these spaces, or just let the painting do the talking, or maybe add paint first and then doodle after it's dry, which I think is what I'll be doing. So you decide. Second, how are we going to paint this? Is it going to be all one color? Are we going to paint in sections and then blend them all together? Or are we going to do, a little bit of a stained glass look when each section is painted in a different color, and then we see what we do about the joining paths, these little paths we have created here, and see how this goes. I think I'm going to do the stained glass look. Yeah, we're going to paint each section in a different color. And like I've told you in the beginning, there are a lot of things we can add to this painting to make it a little bit more interesting, to give it a little bit more texture. I use this sponge a lot. I use cling film a lot too. There are just so many textures you have lying around your house that can make a really big difference in your paintings. Even paper towel. If you dab it, you will get a different texture. But today we are using salt. Okay, so what we need to do in order for the salt to make its magic is to apply the salt as soon as we paint it. Particularly if your paper isn't 100% cotton, and mine isn't, it dries really quick. We need to add the salt as soon as we paint. So we paint, we add the salt, we paint another section, we add the salt, and we go like that. So since we're doing that, my suggestion is start at the top and come down to the bottom, because if you start painting at the bottom and then go at the top, you will mess up the salt, you will mess up the paint, etc. Okay? So let's get started. So here is my salt dish. I'm going to put it, you can see, the grains aren't that big, aren't that coarse. I prefer the big ones, but this is what I have, so this is what I'm working with. And let's get started, guys. So the point is to have fun and to relax, so don't stress, okay? Okay, this is enough salt, and if we're doing it right, the salt, the white salt, will soon become yellow. And that means it's absorbing the paint, it's absorbing the water, and it's doing its job. Okay, so that's first. Let's keep going. Ooh, this one looked, you could see it really perfectly, the way the salt absorbed the paint and it changed the color immediately. It's like these bursts of salt. Okay, this is what we have. Okay guys, this is what we have. So now we need our paint to dry first, and then we need our salt to dry, which doesn't necessarily have the same timeline, okay? Sometimes the paint will dry before the salt flakes, so you know, even if I see the paint to dry, I'm probably not ready to remove the salt just yet, because sometimes as the salt takes a little extra time to dry and we don't want to mess up our painting, when we are removing the salt, we are spreading the paint and it's a mess. Either way, this is looking pretty cool already. I am very happy with it, but we're not done yet. I promised doodling and I meant it. So let's give this a chance to dry. I'm not using my heat gun here because I'm afraid it will ruin the effect of the salt. I'm just gonna be patient about it and wait. Old school, not very patient. I'll be right back, guys. Okay guys, this is still drying. I think I've been waiting for about 10 minutes or so, maybe a little bit longer. So I'm not, like I said, not removing the salt yet, but I will definitely start with the doodling. So what I was thinking was, since we already have the salt inside the different sections, I could do some sort of doodling in the white paths throughout the drawing. And there's one particular pattern that I love to do personally, which is, I have done it a couple of times with you. It's kind of a clam kind of design. Let me show you. So I will be I will be trying to cast the salt aside so I can doodle, but I think this will work. Something like this, and we just fill up the spaces. This pen is not working very good. Okay. So, and we can do it in whatever direction we want until we cover the entire space. We do it in different directions, like so. And we just do the whole thing. Let's speed this up so we won't be here all day, and I will be right back. Okay guys, it's been a couple of hours. I've been real patient as promised. I did not touch this, but now I'm confident that we can. So let's just go ahead and see how this turned out. I'm loving the doodling. I think, like, if I wanted to maybe paint a couple of these shells black, but for now let's just remove the salt and see how this is. And immediately you can see, yeah, the confidence to do this is just, yeah, to be able to do this without having, without being afraid that you're going to ruin the whole thing is something that makes it very much worth the wait. I will say that if I used like bigger grains, bigger grains of salt, coarser salt, the effect would have been even better. But this is what I had, and this is all about using household items to create our art, and I like it. This the salt method is particularly good for making like animal skin patterns. You see all these shadings. Well, yeah, the paint is still making a mess on my fingers. So try not to switch colors very quickly. You don't want to ruin the whole thing. And look at these colors. Angio really does have some of the most vibrant watercolors I own. Kuretake would have been pretty cool here as well. But yeah, I love this vibrancy. Some of this salt is really... Okay guys, so this is what we have here. Can you see like the little textures that give it such a cute, original vibe. Yeah, this doodling, yeah, here is when I tried to remove the salt way too early, and it did exactly what I expected it to do. It just bled the whole thing. And like I said, salt really is just the tip of the iceberg. There are a lot of different things you can use to get interesting textures on your paintings. I've said it before, cling film, sponges, splattering. You know, I always splatter if I get the chance. You can use white crayon to draw whatever you want because crayon repels paint. It will look like you used masking fluid, and yeah, you can use masking fluid too. Or a candle kind of does the same effect. You know, you draw with it and then it just repels the paint. There are just so many options of stuff you have lying around that you can use to add something new to your painting. These are my fingers, so don't get scared if this happens to you. I am pretty happy with this and I think I'm done. We have removed the salt and this is what we've got. Look at that, how cool. And that's it. I hope you had fun. I know I did, and I'll see you really, really soon. Bye bye.